In the meantime, the president's casting a lot of new doubts right now with the future of tariffs and where they stand. Take a look.
Well, they'd like to have a rollback. I haven't agreed to anything. China would like to get somewhat of a rollback, not a complete rollback, because they know I won't do it. China would like to make a deal much more than I would.
Edward Lawrence, where are we on this?
Rollback or not rollback, it depends on who you believe. The president there saying he's made no agreement yet to roll back tariffs for the phase one trade deal. The president also saying that he wants to see a phase one trade deal signed in Iowa. They're still talking about that signing. My trade sources are saying they're still moving forward to the end of next week to have it on paper. So those things are good. Will there be tariffs rolled back? Well, the Chinese sources are telling us that China wants them rolled back in phases. As the phases are completed, they want those tariffs then rolled back. The Chinese trade sources are telling us the U.S. has offered to roll back only some tariffs, but then on the majority of tariffs would remain in place until a full trade deal is finished with China, and then roll back on some milestones after. The president here today obviously saying that he has not agreed on any rollbacks yet. You have White House economic advisor Peter Navarro coming out saying that he hasn't, that there is going to be no rollback of tariffs. They just won't impose new tariffs on December 15th. But then you have Larry Kudlow on the other side saying that they will roll back tariffs in a phase one deal. So, at this moment, it depends on who you believe.
All right, what I wonder about then they dragged this on for whatever reason, and Wall Street was pouncing on, all right, we got phase one done, and it's not done, and let alone where they're going to sign off and get it done, leaving the whole tariff issue aside. Investors can only be patient so long, right?
Right. I know. It's like every economist I know, it's like, we're like, why? Why do we have these tariffs? We can't do this. And the fact that they were talking about eliminating or reducing, rolling back these tariffs led to a lot of optimism among some of my friends. But now they're talking about, no, maybe we're not going to do that. And I think that this is tremendously costly towards businesses. Businesses and American consumers actually have to pay for the cost of these tariffs. They're basically taxes on American businesses. And if they were to eliminate them, I think that would be a cause for hope among American corporations. But now they're not even going in that direction.
I'm curious if the uncertainty is holding back the potential of the economy, is it?
Oh, sure, yeah. It's disrupting supply chains. It's disrupting all of the ingredients of American corporations that are coming from around the world. And it's not just China. It's Mexico, all these companies that have to buy goods from other countries. That's hurting.
But they have to sign off on that. Now, you're the lawyer, and I'm wondering, apparently that's not a profession, no offense to you, that's admired in China. And they don't stick and don't like the details. Or here, actually. You're an exception. But I'm just saying that the problem is getting the Chinese to agree to a mechanism to police what Edward was talking about, both Edwards, actually, that the Chinese make good on these commitments.
Yes, and I think historically that's part of what's been such an issue with China, right, is that they
lie.
One can argue, yes, that is, yes.
The lawyer.
See, exactly. I'm not even here denying anything.
Makes it so good. You say lie, I say it in invariance with that. Go ahead.
So yes, that culturally what we are running up against, as well as with this particular president, is a sort of hubris and a sort of way of doing things that there's a refusal to capitulate, and there's also a refusal to lose face in any way. Now, obviously, the numbers are speaking, right? They have their GDP is at a 27-year low. They need help. But at the same time, our president cannot afford to lose his face that he has gained during this by capitulating in any way, and also by having results that don't resonate with the American people. It's risky to be doing this, obviously, as we come up against an election year. But if he can stick to those results and have it dwindle down into the details, that'll be a lot more effective.
All right, use hubris, capitulate. These are very big words here. All right, now you had a chance to talk to the Atlanta Fed president. All of this is noise that they're obviously monitoring, right?
And nervous about. He said trade uncertainty is one of the biggest issues. Brexit is another uncertainty they're concerned about. And unleashing that uncertainty, Raphael Bostic, the Atlanta Fed president, believes that if you remove some of that uncertainty, it will bring that business investment back, which has been slow this year going forward. He did say that the Fed is probably going to wait and see, not quite cut rates again this year. Just listen, I did have an interview, and listen to exactly what he said on this subject. Listen. We had 3 rate cuts this year. Do you feel like this December meeting we're going to see a pause?
So in my view, where we are in foreign policy right now is we should be taking a wait-and-see attitude just to see how the economy responds to the stimulus and accommodation that we've introduced into the marketplace.
Would you have cut this last time?
So the last one was difficult. I would have been more comfortable with a hold, a continue to wait and see. But I think we're not super accommodative so that the policy stance would have pushed us into that overheating. So I'm comfortable with where we are.
And Fed Chairman Jerome Powell also making that point to wait and see how the stimulus goes. Raphael Bostic made the point, 3.1% GDP in the first quarter. He said that was just supercharged. And now we're back to that sort of normal level as the push of the monetary policy is making its way through the economy.
Is he a voting member?
He was a voting member in 2018, so he voted for the rate hikes, four of them, and he is not a voting member till 2021. But they're all in the room. You know, I asked him about this transition, and the debate is there where they all talk and have a voice in what's happening.
Did he ever talk about how the president likes to talk about them?
And you know what? Their comment is not to comment. Basically, they don't want to feed the bear as he's there. So they generally stay away from that.
Probably a wise move. That's what a cautious lawyer would do, right?